Hello, guys. So we are gonna make a read aloud of Genesis chapter 3. So let's get started with our introduction. Welcome to Tuahida, where learning the Bible is easy and fun. So let's get started. And I know it's short, but yeah, it's just a it's just a shortcut, and then there's some more verses at the end. So let's start out. Now the serpent was more cunning, which was more tricky or something, which was more pride. Yeah, more cunning, which means more harsh than all the wild animals the Lord God made on the earth. And he said to the woman, "Has God indeed said, you shall not eat from every tree of the garden?" And the woman said to the serpent, "We may eat the fruit from the trees of the garden, but from the fruit in the middle of the garden. God said, you shall not eat from it, nor shall you touch it, lest you die." Like, lest also means or you die. So if you hear lest you die, it means or you die. Then the serpent said to the woman, "You shall not die by death. For God knows in the day you eat from it, your eyes will be opened, and you will be like God, knowing good and evil." So when the woman saw the tree was good for food, it was pleasant for the eyes, and a tree beautiful to contemplate, she took its fruit and ate. She also gave it to her husband with her, and he ate. You see here, for God, for God knows in the day you eat from it, your eyes will be opened and you'll be like gods and knowing good and evil. So the snake is a representation of the devil, and the devil is trying to trick her. He's trying to trick her in order to eat her in order to eat the fruit and to pass on to his husband. Then the eyes of the two were opened, and they knew they were naked. So they sewed fig leaves together and made themselves unnaked or coverings, made themselves coverings. So let's skip all of these. Then when they heard the voice of the Lord God walking in the garden that afternoon, wait for a sec, guys. And Adam and his wife hid themselves within the tree in the middle of the garden from the presence of the Lord God. So the Lord called Adam and said to him, "Adam, where are you?" And he replied, "I heard your voice as you were walking in the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked, so I hid myself." Thus he said, "Who said you're naked? Have you eaten from the one tree which I commanded you not to eat?" After this will be weird, because there's gonna be a blaming and a blaming. It's actually 1, 2. 2. Then Adam said, "The woman you gave me of the tree, and I ate." That's the first one. So the Lord God said to the woman, what is this you have done?" The woman said, "The serpent deceived me, and I ate." That's the second one. There's the last one. Thus the Lord God said to the serpent, "Because you have done this, you're cursed more than all the cattle, more than all the wild animals of the earth. On your breast and belly, like the snake's slither which on the belly, you shall go. And you shall eat dust all the day of your life. And I'll put enmity between you and the woman, and between your seed and her seed. He shall bruise your head, and you shall be on guard for his heel. To the woman he said, "I'll greatly multiply your pain and your groaning and pain. You shall bring forth children, like now, like women today. Your recourse will be to your husband, and he shall rule over you. Then to Adam he said, because you heeded the voice of your wife, and ate from one tree of which I commanded you, saying, you shall not eat from it. Curses the ground, and your labors and toil you shall eat from it all the days of your life. Both thorns and thistles it shall bring forth to you, and you shall eat the herb of the field. In the sweat of your face you shall eat bread till you return to the ground from which you are taken. Earth you are, and to earth you shall return. So Adam called his wife name Life, because she was the mother of all living. Also for Adam and his wife, the Lord God made garments of skin and clothed them. Then the Lord God said, behold, the man has become like one of us, to know good and evil. Now lest he put out his hand and take also the tree of life and eat and live forever. Therefore the Lord God sent him out of the garden of pleasure to cultivate the ground from which he had taken. So he cast out Adam and made him dwell opposite of the garden of pleasure. Then he stationed the cherub and the fiery sword which turns every way to guard the way to the tree of life. So that's what we learned about. So someone's gonna give you a reader to read it. Okay, you should be done by this time. So if you need a little bit of time, I'm gonna give you. So it looks like you did good today. So I have one question for y'all. What was the woman's punishment? What was the woman's punishment for eating the tree of knowledge and good and evil? The answer is they had to give birth to children, which is painful. But what about for the man? What was man's punishment? What was Adam's punishment to eat the tree of knowledge and good and evil? Knowledge of good and evil. The answer is to take care of the whole family. So, I hope you have a good day. Goodbye, and make sure you subscribe, like, and share to those who don't know about this. Goodbye.